Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and today I'm here because I have been on BookTube for 1 year. So this is so exciting to me, and I never would have thought 1 year ago that this would be where it is, that I would have made such great friends off BookTube, and that everybody is so important to me and so engaging, and this has meant so much to me. I started obviously December 14th of 2019, and of course nobody had any idea what was in store for 2020, and I'm glad we didn't, but I feel like I started at just the perfect time, because when socialization disappeared, I still had you guys, and that has meant the world to me and has been just so great for everything. I am so excited. So I put a call out and said, hey, I'm going to do a Q&A for my 1 year. Leave me your questions. And you guys, I messaged Brie and Sarah and was like, do you guys have any questions? Because I don't know if I'll get any. I was really nervous that none of you guys would ask questions, but y'all, you came through. I have 2 pages, front and back, all of different questions. And so I am going to try to go through these as quick as I can while still answering the questions. I started going through them, trying to pre-think of answers, and it was just taking forever. And so I'm just going to kind of wing it, and we'll see how it goes. So I did separate them into bookish, YouTube, and life. So let's start with bookish. If you were to read a paranormal, what paranormal creature would you most want to read about? I'm going to say probably ghosts, because I mean that's kind of that one may be real. I don't know. And the movie Ghost and that kind of stuff, I think it's just a romance with with a ghost. I don't know. So I guess ghosts. What book universe would you want to live in? And so this one I've been doing some thinking about, and I cannot come up with a good answer, because my 2 favorite genres are women's fiction / romance and thriller, truthfully. And all of those are very contemporary, just kind of normal worlds. So they're not I don't really read anything that has a fantastical or extraordinary world. So I guess I would just say something in a bigger city, a warmer climate maybe, and with a great friend group. I don't know. Or something not in COVID times. So I don't know. What book universe? A bigger city, warmer city, and not COVID. Let's see. What is your favorite book to gift to somebody? So this really depends on the person. My dad, I love to gift him nonfiction because he loves it and he'll read almost anything. And I personally get a lot out of nonfiction. And so if I have read something like the book Quiet, I think it's by Susan Cain maybe, I know quite a few different introverts that I gifted that to, just because I thought it was really interesting. It's kind of more science-based exploration of introversion, and different Lisa TerKeurst books that are kind of Christian self-help kind of books I have gifted to people. So I like to do that. And then as far as other things, just my favorite books Dream Daughter, After I Do, those kind of things. Love in Other Words, because Love in Other Words is a bookish romance kind of thing, and so if somebody's into reading, then maybe they would like it. My sister is another one that I'm constantly trying to think of books for her, because she reads a lot, and she is very big on the traditional publishing but also on indie, so trying to find a book for her is fun. I don't know, Wonder, if you're going to do a middle grade. I don't know. I don't often gift books because either the people in my life don't read, or they read to the level that I do, where it's hard to know what they have read, haven't read, what, So gifting books, I don't do it frequently unless there's a book that really means something to me, or I know something about somebody that they really want. So, and my favorite kids books, I just did a video about this, so I will link it somewhere. And I would say out of all of them, maybe Loud Lula is by Katie S. Duffield, I think is maybe my favorite, because it's just fun and it's very unique, and that Southern twang is really fun to do. What is your favorite book of all time, and why is it your favorite? This was Jen Moody, and Jen I don't know. Like, I don't know. My favorite book of all time, I guess I would say the Bible, because it is comforting, it is truth, it is like a rock to base my life on. So I would say that. Otherwise, there's just so many good ones. Like, I love The Dream Daughter. I love After I Do. I love Love in Other Words. I don't know. I mean, there's so many. So many. Who is your favorite author? Another one that it's like, I have no idea. Brittany C. Cherry, she always hits it out of the park. Diane Chamberlain always hits it out of the park. Taylor Jenkins Reid, I really like her backlist. Her newer stuff is good too, but Kristen Hanna, Colleen Hoover, Catherine Sinner, Sherry LaPena, B.A. Paris. There's so many. I don't know. I feel like all of these answers are going to be like, I don't know. What's your favorite time of day to read? So I think my favorite time of day, like I would tell you, I am not a night person. No, not at all a night person. But that is my favorite time to read because I'm a very anxious, like kind of high-strung person. Reading in the morning, not going to happen. I've got to be like physically moving in the morning. And then mid-afternoon, I like to read, like especially if football was on or something, like spending the afternoon kind of hanging out, reading, like doing intervals. I love doing reading intervals where you read for a while, then like take a walk, or read for a while and then do something else. Like I really would love to spend my whole afternoon doing that. But at night, like once the kids are in bed, my mind is kind of cleared of other things. I'm too like physically tired to be like go, go, go. I think that is my favorite time to read, which just surprises me because I don't like to do anything at night. So then the next one is, as the mother of two little ones, how do you plan your time to read? And I just do it when they're asleep in the middle of the night. Annie wakes up occasionally now. She wakes up normally like once a night. And so I am just terrible at falling back asleep. So I'll read then. I read before bed, after they go to bed, before I go to bed, when I'm just kind of like ready to relax. I also will put in one AirPod or one earphone or something, and like if the kids are doing something where they're entertained, or I'm like cleaning house or something, I will listen to one so I can still like hear them and stuff, but I will listen to an audiobook that way. So I just kind of sneak it in where I can. I also really like ebooks, so I have my phone anywhere I go and just sneak in a couple pages there. Do you prefer longer books and series or quick reads? So I'm going to say quick for sure, because it makes me feel accomplished, it makes me feel productive, and like as an Enneagram type 3, I'm the achiever, so like I really like to be able to do that, and like it just feels progressive and I like it. But there's also some books, like if a women's fiction or something is done well, where you really love the main character, I like hanging out with her and just staying with her as long as possible. So both, but I would say definitely more on the shorter side. Okay, this one. What is a genre you've never read? Is there a book you're interested in from that genre? I've never really read like erotica or like body horror type things, and I have no interest in that at all. But I don't read a lot of like sci-fi, dystopian, fantasy, anything like that. And I am very, very interested in the Arc of the Scythe, or whatever that is, the trilogy. I'm very, very interested in that. And then if I was gonna do fantasy or something, like I think I would need it to be like middle grade and like a contemporary fantasy or YA. Like I feel like I really need to ease into fantasy, but dystopian is one. The Gray Sphere I also really want to read. I don't read a whole lot of dystopian, but that one I would say I definitely want to get more into. And I don't know where the line, like sci-fi, I do like some time travel, so maybe that's sci-fi. I don't really know. What is your favorite classic, and do you like reading classics to your kids? So I was thinking about this one, and I really like To Kill a Mockingbird, Little Women, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Great Gatsby, Anne of Green Gables, The Color Purple. Like all of those I really, really enjoyed when I read them. But if you guys have seen the me and Jeremy take the comprehension quiz years later from high school reading, my memory is not that great. And so all of those books that I just mentioned, it's been a while since I read them. So I don't know if on reread I would still like them, but I have good memories of those and I really like those. So as far as reading classics to my kids, we read, they're so young now that like I read the little golden books, and those ones, like some of them are very, very old. And the old ones they're just kind of hit and miss. I don't know. I don't read a lot of classics to them at this point, but by the time they're old enough, like Babysitter's Club will be a classic, I think. It already is. It's a modern classic. And Nancy Drew, I did like Nancy Drew. So some of them, Anna Green Gables, I will read some of that to them and see what they think. Next is a question from Antonella. She said, what are some of the books you will recommend to a thriller or romance reader as a must-read, or any other genre? And Antonella, recommendations kill me. I don't know. I can't do them. And I was trying to think of the ones, and I was like, but what about this one, and this one, and this one, and this one? So maybe I will put that in the back of my head as like thriller recommendations, because I love domestic thrillers, and so maybe I'll put those video ideas in the back of my head, because I cannot think of recommendations off the spot. Is there a book this is also Antonella, is there a book that you feel represents you the best? Character traits, your romance, or family life, or some things that make you feel seen as if the author modeled it after you? And I think like that's kind of why I love women's fiction and why I continue to read it, is because I'm constantly kind of searching for that book, and not necessarily something that 100% replicates my life. But I feel like that is what I love about women's fiction, is most of the time I can relate to something and feel seen in some part of it. And so I love books about like pregnancy and parenting. I think like I am the type that I was like born to be a mother. In general, like things don't really rile me about motherhood. I in general love it like more than anything. And so reading about other women in like domestic conditions, I guess I really like. I can't think of anything specifically, but yeah, so I would say I'm always kind of searching for that, but I don't really know. In 5 years, the main character, I can't remember what her name is at all, but I remember a bunch of people like did not like her because she was just kind of rigid, kind of type A, and I was like, I kind of relate to that. And so, I don't know. There's definitely some, like, type A characters that I relate to. There's the, like, kindergarten teacher character that I relate to. Like, I just really, really enjoy that about women's fiction, is I have not found a book that's, like, my life exactly. But yeah, I don't know. So, I like seeing pieces of my life in books, and it's really fun to do. Okay, then Antonella asked, are there any 2021 releases you are excited for? And yes, there are tons, which this is probably also a video idea. So Antonella is like coming in clutch, but Kristen Hanna has a new one. Lisa Genova has a new one. Jennifer Weiner has a new one. The next in the Bromance Book Club. Martha Hall Kelly has another one coming out. I think Sunflower Sisters or something like that. And she is, like, I'm not a huge fan of historical fiction, but Martha Hall Kelly is one that I really like. She wrote The Lilac Sisters, and I really like her, so I would love to try that. There's also one called, like, This Close to Okay, I think is what it's called, and that sounds super good. Sally Hepworth has a new one coming out, so there's so much that I am excited for, and maybe I will do a most anticipated video at some point soon. Okay, now this series is from Bree from Falling for Romance, and she got me good. So she says, women's fiction for beginners, rapid fire. So I will link my women's fiction video somewhere around here, but I'm going to try to just answer these two. So what are three of your favorite women's fiction titles? So I'm going to say Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain, the Winter Street series by Ellen Hildebrand, which is like a family situation, and then like any of Taylor Jenkins Reid's backlist. Maybe in Another Life, like After I Do is definitely more romance, but maybe in Another Life, all of hers like kind of toe the line. Shoot, what is the one by Firefly Lane? I think is what it's called. The first one in that series is so good. Like, I don't know. That's more than three, so that counts. What three misconceptions about women's fiction drive you bonkers? Just that it's boring, or that, like, I guess just that's boring. I don't really know why people hate on women's fiction so much. Like, there's romance people that want more romance. There's other people who say it's slow. I don't know. Like, tell me why you don't like women's fiction, and I don't know. So I guess that's boring. Who are 3 of your auto-buy women's fiction authors? Jennifer Weiner, Lisa Genova, Kristen Hanna, Taylor Jenkins Reid. I know I'm not even thinking of Jane Green. I like her a lot. There's so many. So many. Which is probably a problem. Do you have any cool reading projects that you want to attempt in 2021? And yes, I do, and I'm going to do a 2021 goals video. Then, someone who has never read your go-to genre comes to you asking for a recommendation from that genre. You can only recommend them a book within that genre that you read in 2020. What would you recommend this first timer to your go-to genre? I'm just thinking of the most recent one I read was Sunrise on Half Moon Bay by Robin Carr, and that was about 2 sisters, and so it's definitely a women's fiction. So I would say that. I really enjoyed that one, so I definitely read that in 2020. I just read it. I would recommend that one. And then last from Bree is, what was the last book you read that reminded you why you love a specific genre? And what was it about that book that gave you this reminder? And I'm going to say 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. And that reminded me how much I love YA, I guess, just because it's so fun and simple. In some ways, like, I feel like the core, like your bigger family is more of a part of YA, of course, because you're not married and have your own family, and so you kind of get to be that like simpler role of like an adult but still the child, where you don't have as many responsibilities, so you get to have more fun. And so like she goes on a bunch of Christmassy dates, and I wanted to go on all the dates. It was just so fun, and like that time of life when you're trying to figure out kind of who you are and who you're going to be with and all that kind of stuff, like it just feels very fun and nostalgic to me. And that book kind of encapsulated like perfectly like going home to your parents for the holidays, and or even though it's her grandparents, but like spending the holidays that way and not like being the one responsible for everything, which is fine. That like I love being the mom, but YA reminds me of a time when like I didn't have to worry about as much, I guess. So that's all of your questions, Bree. Thank you for asking them. They were some doozies. My mom asked me, what author would you like to meet most in person? I think I'm going to say Brittany C. Cherry, because I talked to her a little bit on Instagram, and she just seems like a really fun, down-to-earth gal. And like anybody that can get like that emotional gut punch over and over and over and over and over, I'm like, how do you do that? And I just want to know so much about her life, and she just seems like somebody that would be really fun in real life. So I guess that in general, I would love to meet any author, because I just think it's amazing. Like, where do these ideas come from? Where do these stories come from? What's your process like? How do you do that? It's so amazing to me. So I would love to meet any author, especially any of my favorites that I just talked about. But there's also a little bit of fear of like, what if they're not as cool as I think they are? So I would meet any author, but I would say Brittany C. Cherry. Next is, what is your favorite book cover? So I just looked on my shelves, and because I don't know, I'm a big fan of the illustrated cover. So like this one, Hello Sunshine, this is just a random illustrated cover. So I really like illustrated covers. All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. This is like textured and great, and I just think this is really a pretty cover. These thriller covers, like this one, The End of Her by Sherry LaPina, this one, like, I just love like the dark, cloudy, ominous, what's gonna happen. Like, I love that. And then this, like, Christmas covers, especially UK Christmas covers, just nail it. But this one I love, The Bridge by Karen Kingsbury. The bookstore, like, this kind of reminds me of the place in You've Got Mail or Serendipity or something like that. It's just so, I love this cover. Love, love, love this cover. So those would be my favorite covers that I have just like readily available. Most unpopular bookish opinion. So any of the books I have DNF this year, I feel like were unpopular opinions. I can't think of any that I like super loved that a lot of people didn't, except maybe like In 5 Years. And I plan to do a video, I think, of all the books that I DNF'd in 2020. And I feel like all of those were pretty unpopular. The biggest being You by Carolyn Kepnes. What do you think is a trope that you want to see more of in romance? So I want to see more of life after the happily ever after. Life after the wedding, after the engagement, after the baby, whatever it may be. I want to see more of that, which then, I don't know, it would probably toe it into women's fiction and not romance because, yeah, I just want to see more adult happy for now. That's what I want. And more like happy couples that choose not to have children, because every book, every romance, and then they had a baby, or in the epilogue they have a baby or something, and one like fertility representation of people who it doesn't happen for, or people who have chosen that's not what I want to do, or people who take like alternate ways besides getting pregnant. I would love to see either of those things. Then this one's really an interesting question and something I was thinking about. I am always interested to see if readers think that where they live affects what they read. Do you find yourself liking books about your area of the world? No, like I don't find myself liking books about my area of the world. And it's interesting because I do know, so I live in Kansas. I live in a moderately sized town, I would say, and I hate cowboy romances because I feel like that is too close to home. I see a lot of cowboy boots and a lot of like, I just know a lot of people who are cowboys, I guess, and to me it's not attractive. And like in this town, especially like when we were in college and stuff, like cowboys gave me a bad taste in my mouth. I also live in, like I said, kind of a suburban town, and I am much more of a city person, or like suburbia with a very big city close by, and I'm kind of like dropped in the middle here in suburbia. And so like reading about small towns and stuff, I'm like, it kind of feels suffocating, and I don't know, something about like wide open spaces stresses me out. So living in Kansas, I think, makes me want to read small town and cowboy romance less because it is too close to home, and I know like the not great parts of that, I guess. What were some of your favorite books growing up? So that whole top shelf is double stacked Babysitter's Club. And so those were a lot of my favorites. You see, there's also Nancy Drew, Dear America, the like Help, I'm Trapped in a Whatever's Body were really fun. Wayside School's Falling Down, Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. I'm trying to think. Amelia Bedelia, all Beverly Cleary books. I don't know. I need to ask my mom, but I think like that group. I also have a lot of the Full House books, and I loved watching the show, so reading the books was kind of fun too. But yeah, that's quite a few. What are some underrated books that you love and think more people should read? So I'm actually about to do a video. I feel like I'm saying that too all the time, but I'm about to do a video about authors who need more love. But I would say like specific books I can't really think of. But like Lisa Genova, Renee Carlino, and like backlist. What I want is more people to read everybody's backlist, which I know will probably never happen, at least like not on BookTube, but like Emily Giffen's backlist is really good. I don't think has come out with anything for a while. I mean, she did like last year or something, and I don't know. Her newer stuff is not as good, but her backlist I really liked. So I wish people would go read more backlist books. Okay, what is the most atmospheric book you read in 2020? And I think I would have to say Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. And I did not care for the book, but the atmosphere was very icy and cold. And it's about the last person I think executed in Iceland. And you very much got that atmosphere. Who's the one women's fiction or chick lit author that you really love, but everyone else seems to hate? And I don't know, like, is there a hated women's fiction or romance author? Not really. Like, I don't know of any that are like universally hated, so I don't know. What's your most anticipated women's fiction or chick lit release of 2021? I kind of answered that before, so yeah. And if you could visit a fictional town or city from any movie, TV show, or book for a span of 1 week, where would you go? I think this is going to have to be Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls. I think that is where I would go. So just because I just said I hate small towns, but like I want to meet all those people and I want to see the town square, and I like for a week I would like to be there. So now we're going to get into the questions about YouTube and other media and things like that. So the first one is, what's the biggest thing you've learned about during your year here on BookTube? And I got quite a few different questions about that. But I think just that, like, the biggest thing I have learned, and I think somebody asked too, like, advice you would give yourself, is just to make it part of the routine. I have vlogged, I think, every single day since I started, every single day over the last year. And so making that a part of my routine of like, I finish a book, I go on Goodreads and I update my Goodreads, and then I update you guys. And so making that like routine really, really helps with consistency and with being here. And also the biggest thing I've learned is it's all about connection, which I think I kind of knew before. That's why I started my channel, is because I wanted to be able to connect more with other readers, other creators, that kind of thing. And I think like I have really learned that is like very important and enriching, that I could do this all the time by myself. And like if I didn't have any interaction, it wouldn't be worth it, of course. And the interaction both with the viewers and the creators is really just so fun. So that biggest thing I've learned. Otherwise, like to plan time for editing, because that takes a lot longer than I anticipated, especially when doing vlogs and longer videos. And yeah, so I guess that's what I have learned. What has been your favorite memory from your year on YouTube? Gosh, I can't think of anything like specifically, except like all the live shows that I have participated in, starting the Book Sisters Book Club with Brie and Sarah, just like those conversations and getting that up and running, and our first show and our first discussion and everyone thereafter, and all the readathons, like all of the readathons have been fun. Gosh, there's so many good memories. Like I said, this year has been like so awesome. I don't even have words for it. It's just been so wonderful. So I have a lot of great memories, and like you all to thank. And my TGI Fridays, those conversations just are like life-giving to me. They always come at a time when I feel like I really need them, and just getting to know somebody more and more about their bookish life and all of that, like I just love it. So all of those are my favorite. What's something that's unexpected about starting a channel, either good or bad? I would say probably the amount of time to edit is kind of surprising to me, just because I did not plan ahead enough. I've been pleasantly surprised by the amount of content that I am like thinking of. Like I kind of was like, I'm going to get in a rut and do the exact same things over and over and over. And I'm actually like so invigorated by everything. I love BookTube so much that like coming up with content is not as much of a challenge as I would have thought. And I just have great subscribers, and so comments are always kind. Like I never get really like negative comments, and I'm so grateful for that. And so I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought there would be more of that going on. And also, like, one thing I've learned / I'm surprised by is, like, how many people on BookTube use other social medias, like Instagram and Twitter and that kind of stuff. I am on Instagram, but, like, not a whole lot. But so much of BookTube is, like, intertwined with Instagram. So that's interesting. And that you don't need like professional cameras. Like here I am a year into it, still just filming on my phone or my computer, and I'm perfectly satisfied with that. So I would say those things all are things I've learned and things that have surprised me. How much time do you spend watching BookTube? How do you balance life, family, reading, filming, and watching videos? This is a great question. So as far as the amount of time I spend watching BookTube, it's generally about an hour a day because I get up at 5:30 and I go work out downstairs. I do cardio. We have an elliptical and that kind of stuff in the basement. And so I will do cardio and watch BookTube while I do it. And I do it for an hour every day and I watch BookTube for that hour every day. Otherwise, like I very rarely watch during the day just because, I mean, there's just no time. Like I'm with the kids all day and other times I spend reading. So I guess, like the routine I've gotten in is BookTube in the morning, and then like reading at nap time and reading at bedtime. Occasionally, if I have like finished a book or something and like I don't feel like starting anything new, I will watch BookTube at bedtime. But I also find that like that keeps me awake longer because I keep having to like go through videos and it's engaging and like I want to comment on everybody's, and so that actually keeps me awake a little bit more. So I try not to watch BookTube as much at night, but the balance is a struggle. It is a struggle. And the times where I have are the morning before they get up, nap time, and bedtime. And so I kind of do BookTube, read. Filming, I do on the weekends. I just batch film on the weekend as much as possible. Or if I can get Jeremy to watch Annie while Ainsley takes a nap. Ainsley kind of naps, but she's always in her room for like an hour and a half at least. And so if Annie's sleeping or something and I can do it during nap time, I will, but otherwise I mostly batch film on the weekend. What have you learned in the last year on BookTube, and any advice for somebody new? Somebody new, I'm going to say what everybody says, but just do it. Just do it. You don't have to have a professional camera. You don't have to have, you don't have to have big bookshelves. You don't have to do anything. Just get on there because there are so many people I watch that don't read anything like me, that don't do anything extraordinary, and yet I love watching them because I love their personality and they become very comforting to me and they become friends. So with that too, like interact, comment. If you have something to say, comment and just engage and participate in readathons, especially if you're starting a channel. That's a really good way to get like connected in the community. So just do it. Just do it, and you set the bar for you. And if you want to do once a week, do once a week. If you when I started, I was like, I really just want to vlog. I don't want to do sit down videos because, my life is a little crazy. I was pregnant, like newly pregnant and pretty sick, and had a 1-year-old, and so I was like, I don't want to commit to doing weekly reads. I don't want to commit to doing like the BookTube standards, and so I didn't. I just started vlogging, and things kind of have been added as I go. So start with what's comfortable with you and just go for it. What did you think about BookTube before you joined, and how and which ones of your opinions about it changed? I think I watched BookTube for a long time, and so I think part of it is that like now a lot of the people that I was like starstruck by are now friends, and so that is really, really fun to see and do, and realizing that we're all just like the same kind of people, just trying to live life and read books and talk about it. And so I would say that's kind of what how my opinions have changed, I guess, is that like I don't know. What does your husband think about it? Your family members, do they watch? And so my husband, I think he's happy that like he knows I am a very social person, like in a lot of ways. Like I really need my friends. And so with COVID and that kind of stuff, I think he's really glad that I have this like social aspect. And also being a stay-at-home mom, I like don't have productivity much. Like most days are just kind of getting through the day and like keeping your head above water. And so this is something that gives me like a creative outlet and something to like do for me. So I think he is very supportive of it, and he is great. I know at the beginning he watched all of them. Now I don't think he does. I think my parents and maybe my grandma watch most of my videos. And then I know his, I think my sister watches occasionally. I think his parents at least know about it. His grandparents might as well. He's got 2 aunts that I think watch. pretty regularly. And so, yeah, my family knows about it. My friends, like my in real life friends, some do, because Instagram started kind of as my personal page, but I was never big on Instagram at all. So I didn't have very many friends, but the ones that I did have, in real life friends know about it, I guess. I don't put anything on Facebook, and I don't like talk to friends about it necessarily, but yeah, so I guess I don't know, and I like not knowing. What's my favorite movie? I am not a movie watcher. I don't have a very good attention span. I can't sit still for very long, so I'm not a great movie watcher, but I love like shows and movies both. I like sitcom-y things, and so like Father the Bride, I don't know. I don't know. I don't ever watch movies. I can't think of anything that I like love. The Santa Claus, I watch that a lot all year long. So I don't know. Anything with Tim Allen or Tom Hanks or Steve Martin. Those three guys, I will watch almost anything. And anything Nora Ephron. There's my answer. You've Got Mail. Yeah. Nora Ephron movies, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Steve Martin. Those are my jam. Almost done. What's one piece of advice you would give yourself back when you started BookTube? And again, I would say just do you. Like, do you. Don't worry about everything else, and connect. And I would say, and like get on Instagram. I think that really helps. And I wish I would have like gotten more into Instagram earlier, because I'm still like getting there. Okay, so now personal life. And these ones, I'm going to try not to get long-winded because I feel like I talk about myself all the time on this channel, so I'll try not to talk your ear off. But if you decide to dye your hair, what color would you dye it? Darker. I've always wanted to go darker. Like my hair right now is a little bit wet still, and but it's brown. In the summer, it kind of gets a little lighter, and I love like a rich, dark chocolate brown. So I think that's what I would do. Or something fun, like colored tips or something. I don't know. I feel like that is cool, but I can't pull it off. How did you and your husband meet and start dating? I lived in Austin, Texas. I went and got my master's at the University of Texas, and so I lived down there. And then some things happened in my hometown with my family that I felt like being in my hometown was the better place to be. So after my master's, I decided to come back to my hometown and start Girls on the Run. And so I started a local section of Girls on the Run, and that's what I was doing. That is a nonprofit organization. So I was working part-time at our family's real estate company, and then also doing this Girls on the Run, kind of juggling a lot of different hats, but I was really loving it. And so my husband and I met at a tailgate. So we both love football. And so we were at a tailgate, and we had mutual friends, and I was actually dating somebody else. The guy I was dating at the time was a traveling physical therapist. And so if you haven't heard about like that, there's some sort of program where like every 6 months or so he moved. So he lived in Chicago, and we were doing long distance, and I met Jeremy, and Jeremy was just everything that my current boyfriend was not. And my relationship we broke up shortly thereafter, like not because of Jeremy, but just like we were on the end of the thing anyway. And Jeremy was just everything he was not. And then so I met him and found out his name, and we have a pretty unique last name. And so I was like, is that so-and-so's brother? Because I, come to find out, am very good friends with his sister-in-law. Her and I have run together since high school, and like literally run. Like we're workout buddies. We were workout buddies, pre-kids and stuff. And so I was like, is that her brother-in-law? Like, and I knew her husband, and so I said, is that his brother? And it was. And so come to find out, like I had met his mom already and stuff because they had a baby. So I had met them at the baby shower, and it was just interesting. And my brother-in-law now, he, I guess, had kind of thought of me because Jeremy was single, and he thought was single, and I was back. And so I think he was going to like try to do matchmaker anyway, but we met on our own. So, yeah, and funny story, actually, Jeremy and I, met, married, and had our kids all on the same block. it's so weird how it happens. But like the place we met tailgating, the church we got married in, and the hospital we had our kids in all are within the same like quarter half mile block. And so that's really fun. That's kind of a special area for us, I guess. What is your favorite food to eat and cook? And I don't know. You guys, I am big on just easy stuff. So I love salads. I am a vegetarian and I'm lactose intolerant. So for all intents and purposes, vegan, except we eat eggs and some like shrimp and canned tuna, just because those are what we like or what I like and what I cook. And so, yeah, salads, big salads with anything are my favorite. I love casseroles. I don't know. I think I'm kind of unique in that. Like, I love throw a bunch of stuff in and put it in the oven and see what comes out. I really like that. So yeah, that's my answer. Tell us something people don't know about you. I feel like I talk about myself constantly, so I think you guys know like everything. I have a big family. I'm one of 6 kids, but we're a blended family, so there's some of this, some of that. I'm the youngest. I taught kindergarten. I have a degree in education and a master's degree in kinesiology and health education. So my 2 passions are like physical activity and kids and teaching. And so yeah, what's something you missed pre-COVID times? And I think just like going places, life is so much easier with toddlers when you can take them to places and do fun activities. And so being stuck at home so much has been really, 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 really hard. I also miss just normal social interaction and being able to go places and be around people without like masks and fear and all of that. Anything you want to share about your vegetarian journey? How did it start? Preconceived notion, and the most important of question. The next one is not vegetarian related. So my mom is a vegetarian, and she raised us in a house where we always had a meaty option. Not always had a meaty option, but sometimes had a meaty option, and usually had a vegetarian option. And I just never found the taste for it. And then the older I got, the more I like kind of thought about it and just. I don't know, both like my preferences as well as like my thoughts and things. Like it just freaks me out. And so I mean, I think I was like 12, maybe 13 when I was like, okay, seriously, like I'm not into the meaty option. But I was never like I never really was into it. So it's kind of like I don't really have any tips for starting because it's just kind of been the way I've always been. And the most important questions of them all, will the Chiefs repeat last year? No. Unfortunately, no, they will not. Have you always lived in Kansas? So no, I was actually born in the San Francisco Bay Area, and then we moved here when I was 4 or 5 to Kansas, and so then from there I have a hometown. I've moved to a couple different places in Kansas, and then I lived in Austin, Texas for 2 years while I got my master's. So the majority of my life, yes, I have been in Kansas in some area, always in the northeast part of the state. And so for the majority of my life, yes, but I've also lived in California as well as Texas. What are some of your favorite vegan recipes? Like I said, casseroles and skillets where you just like saute some veggies, throw some tomato sauce in, call it pasta, or like Mexican casseroles. I love enchiladas. So any of that. I don't really do a whole lot of like the Daiya cheese or like any of the like non-dairy cheese just because that like has texture issues and isn't the best. But like I love anything. I will eat almost anything. And salads. I love salads. What is the transition from being a parent of 1 child to 2 been like? A learning curve, I would say. Like, of course, like they say, like you love them both just as much, and like it's amazing how that happens. That I have 2 very different children, I think, and yet I love them both so much. And just some of the logistical stuff is a lot harder. Like bedtimes, nap times, like getting people down at the same time and like trying to sync schedules is really hard. But otherwise, it's been pretty easy. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. It has been pretty easy. Seeing how different they are, but how similar they are has been really fun and unique. And like with Ainsley, she was like a couple days old, and I was like, I cannot wait to do this again. And with Annie, I was like, I bet I'm not going to feel that way. And I do. I am like, I'm ready for another one. Not really, but with Ainsley too, we did not find out what we were having. And with Annie, we did. And I actually really, really, really prefer like finding out. I feel like the connection was just better, and it was just, I really liked it. Also, second kid, like all the second kid stereotypes are so true, especially with the amount of like attention she gets and the amount of things that I worry about. They're just so much less the second time around. But so that's good. I mean, I'm worried less, I think. Tell us more about Girls on the Run. I will link it down below. It's an awesome organization. It's international, but they're like each local chapter is different. And so, yeah, it's a program for young kids. It's late elementary and also junior high that uses running as a tool to teach them like body positivity and so many like girl power things. It's a wonderful organization. I will link it down below. What was it like when you found out you were pregnant for the first time? You guys, it was ridiculous. So if you don't know, we struggle with fertility. So we had been married, and right after we got married, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. So I went and lived in Houston with her for 8 weeks while she got cancer treatment. And just the beginning of our relationship, our married life was really weird and really, really weird. So then we came back, dust all settled. We had some holidays, and we were like, okay, let's get on this fertility journey. So we joined a fertility clinic because the regular OB was like, nope, this is beyond me. So we got a fertility clinic, and that was in January. And from January to May was just tests and different poking and prodding and medications and shots and all of these things to try to get me to ovulate. And then the first time I did, you guys, I got pregnant with Ainsley. And so it was it was literally the first time I had ovulated, which is maybe way too much information, but yeah, and I was at the gym, and like I had no hope. Like I thought this was going to be a really long journey. And like I said, we started January 2nd, and I found out I was pregnant May 25th, I think. So it was like they were going to call me. I knew they were going to call me at some point in a couple days span to tell me my blood test, if it was positive or negative. And I was 100% sure it was negative. I was not feeling any symptoms. It never works on the first time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm at the gym on the elliptical, and because I have a lot of knee and leg issues, I don't know if you guys know that, so I try not to run as much and do more elliptical, but I'm on the elliptical, and I get a phone call, and it's like 7 in the morning, and they're like, hey, so you're pregnant. And I was like, what? Like, I literally stopped everything and was then all of a sudden nervous if I was supposed to be doing what I was doing. And so then I had to be at work at 8 or maybe 9. I don't know exactly what time it was, but so I called into work and I was like, hey, is there any chance I can have the day off or the morning? I can come in late, I think is what I said. And so I had bought a book for Jeremy, called What to Expect When Your Wife's Expanding. And so I wrapped it up, I had it wrapped up. And so then I went home, and he was still home because he was either working from home or something. I don't know what he was doing. And I gave him the book, and it was just so I almost get teary thinking about it because it's so mind blowing and so exciting and so unexpected and so joyful. And so then when we decided to start trying for Annie, I kind of put it off for a while because I was like, as soon as I ovulate, we're going to get pregnant. And then joke's on us. It took 7 months, but still nothing compared to others' journeys. And, yeah, it was the best thing ever. And then with Annie, because it did take so long, we had really gotten in a routine of you go take the pregnancy test. This is when you get your call. He knew the call was coming, and it was a lot more narrow window. And so, it was still so exciting because with her, we had gone through, we exhausted our options. The only thing left for us was IVF. And so the doctor had pushed for IVF months prior, and I had said, no, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. And so then our IVF consult was literally the next day. I went and got the blood test, and the girls at the clinic knew me by name, by face, because I had to get blood drawn every other day. And so and I did it for 7 months. And so they knew me, and they were crying. I was crying. Like, it was so, like, what, we were just about to, like, say, okay, we've got to either stop or go on to IVF. Like, our IVF consult, like I said, was the next day. And so both times, it's two of the happiest moments in my life. And then, what's your favorite thing to do apart from reading? This is totally different, but working out, crafting, hanging out with my kids, hanging out with my family. Those are my favorite things. And then, what is the first place you want to visit post-COVID? And I don't know. I can't even think about post-COVID. Like, what is that going to be like? I don't know. And I think I will always have, like, a weird level of anxiety now about, especially my kids being in public places. Like, not in public places, like, but, like, traveling. Like, airplanes have always, I'm a nervous flyer in, like, their germ tubes anyway. And so I know they're being great about, like, sanitization stuff. But, so I don't know. I would love to go anywhere. I would love to go back down to Austin. It's been a while since I've been there, so I would say Austin, I guess. But that is it, you guys. If you have watched all of this and if you care about all of this, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is you guys who have made this year so great, and I have no desire to ever leave or change anything. And so I just love being a part of this community, and thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, weekend, week, wherever you are. Let me know if you have any responses to any of the things I've talked about, and thank you guys again.